That's terrific. always careful when you release the pedal at the end of something that you don't do it slowly, because we'll get this weird sound of dampers playing. Some dampers are always going to work a little bit more efficiently than others. It's just the physics of felt. So even if you're playing slowly, the release of the pedal should always be swift-ish. We don't want it either to bang off, but just, it's a very precise instrument, isn't it, what we're working with these dampers. And before we leave the end of this piece, Brahms does this very often. He writes in the writ by halving the note values. It's something he does all over the place. So here, we have the yada-da-da, yada-da-da, da-da-da-da. So I wouldn't do a writ as well, because we lose the whole Brahmsian thing of this forcing us to slow down at that particular point. I mean, it happens even a couple of times in this piece, and it happens at the end of this waltz section when he halves the time. So it's not that we can't slow down at all, but we just need to be aware of that beautiful way that he slackens the tempo so that we don't undercut what he's doing. So these two pieces, they both have this Viennese bit in the middle, this nostalgia for old Vienna. I mean, these are, I think, amongst Brahms's masterpieces of a long life of writing incredible music. He writes at the end of it some of the most incredible that he wrote, and particularly these first two pieces. But we shouldn't be so reverent about them that we don't enjoy the fact that he's in cafes in Vienna. He's going to have his goulash in the same restaurant that he liked. He liked ordinary life as well. And so when we get the first it's almost sentimental, really. So don't shy away from that. We don't have to be Urtext edition with professor with a bow tie in every bar. Sometimes it's actually quite louche. He might have seen a nice waitress and given her a wink. And why not? And we know that he did. So let's enjoy that aspect of it. And then with this one, I'm exaggerating, of course. But I think what makes the second piece so special is this very restless feeling of where are we? And it's very uneasy, isn't it? And actually slightly anxious, really. And then, we have another of the Brahms things here. And then it's suddenly a smile, and it's suddenly this beautiful Viennese moment. And when we get to the half bar, it's even more sentimental. So I would enjoy that. And then we get back to this kind of restlessness. With these sections, the outer sections, the pedaling, I would almost never put the pedal all the way down, because then we're going to get thick, because we want a little bit of, not so much air, but it shouldn't be completely opaque, little transparency. And remember, he wrote these on this, I can't remember the name of the piano now, I'm blanking, but the piano that Brahms had at home was not a Concertgrand Steinway. He loved Concertgrand Steinways for concerts, but at home he was writing on this piano he'd had for decades, and it had a much thinner sound, much less rich strings. The dampers were less efficient, so you wouldn't get this kind of all the way on, all the way off thing. So it would have been a more veiled, kind of hazy sort of sound. So I would like to look at that a little bit. But let's start from the first one again. The more I'm looking at music now, accents, or this hairpin, or whether is it an accent, is it a hairpin, I think it's all about rubato, and I think it's all about lingering. We have this idea that an accent is always like a forceful note. And it really isn't. What do you do in Schubert when it's triple P and he has an accent? It's not a forceful, it's a lingering on that note. And I think with this, I'm exaggerating. And what he's doing is he's elongating that appoggiatura. So we need to be careful that these notes are not skimpy, but they're also not melodic. So I don't want to hear like it's the melody, but I also don't want to hear like they're not there at all. So you have to find a little bit of cantabile in that F sharp, and then this a little bit looser in the arm, not so to the bottom of the key. So let's just start this one again. It's piano, not pianissimo. That's mezzo piano. The third bar was very nice.
Yeah.
But I feel, yes, it's Adagio, but to me the danger is that it's sort of getting stuck. I think it needs to feel still one in a bar, very, very slow one in a bar. Beautiful. Bassoon. But don't lose your melody either. We have this wonderful little imitation. Again, Brahms doing his incredible, intellectually brilliant things of the... I want to hear both lines, the beautiful oboe at the top and an equally good bassoon at the bottom. From the beginning again. Can we still feel that that top line is still one instrument? But you might weight it slightly towards the bottom of the third. Yeah. Exaggerate it for me with this, imagining this F sharp as our tenuto, as this lingering holding. Let's just wait even longer, just... Calm. That's beautiful. But the A now is a little loud. Yeah. Better. Yeah, it's beautiful now. Now we're changing key. So in bar 11, I would just prepare the sound because we've got this coming. There's again this beautiful imitation between the right and left. But I think if you just, and then somehow, it's beginning earlier than bar 12. From the second time, yeah. Not as good as you did it before. Not good. Yeah, it's better. T, linger, D, ta, di, no, da, di, ba, di, and especially the last one. You've got time to take, and also I think you could take a little writ, I think, into the slightly, I would, it's always what you write, isn't it? Composers, what you leave out and what you write. And famously, of course, Brahms sometimes put things in and then took them out. I think there's some moments in the second piano concerto when he wrote something like Sostenuto and then realized if he wrote it, people would do too much, so he took it out. Or like the tempo marking for the last one to the second. Do you write allegro con grazia or allegretto grazioso, as he ended up writing? You know, it's just, you're trying to second guess what the performer will do. I think if he wrote a writ here, you'd do too much. But I think there probably should be a little bit of a new paragraph when it comes in bar 9. Just from this second one again. You know, it's so good. The E now, as a few times, has come too late. Yeah, exactly. The last. Now the longer phrase. Now the cafe. Still piano. Now crescendo. Okay, we have to find a way to make this forte just such an outpouring, so that all of the so that it really opens up at that point. The little hairpins, there's a little one on each one. I can imagine if you're playing this on a violin, you'd slide, as everyone did at that time. You know, this is one of the performance practices. Yes, we're very keen on this when we talk about Bach and Mozart and Beethoven, but we don't talk about the late Romantics so much. And we have more evidence for that. And I would just release the pedal after. So he's written in your glissando by doing this little arpeggio. I don't think it's just because the chord's big and you can't fit it under the hand. He's deliberately written that in to simulate that kind of. It's very, it's a sort of seductive kind of beautiful love song here. Let's just go from this middle section again. Linger on the long notes, then go to beautiful. Now, yeah, that's a moment because we've got this crescendo coming. Maybe we can go down a little bit here, even softer than piano. Once more, it's great. Can you give me the new melody a little? It's a little echo of the chorus. I think not bringing it out in an artificial way, but just being aware that that voice is there. It's the psychology of it, isn't it? We're one person playing the piano, but you know, if you were going to play this line on the oboe or whatever, you'd be somehow preparing for it. So we have to be many people at once when we're playing the piano in a contrapuntal setting like this. I felt these are a bit heavy, these upbeats. Yeah, beautiful. Should we go from there? Can little bit more character there. I like the alto voice, but you lose the soprano when you do that. Whenever we bring out an inner voice or a voice that's not the melody, we need to keep our eye on the melody, because we'll lose that if we don't. Can you find just a little bit more gentle sound somehow? Very, very good now. Markus, can you just, I want you to exaggerate these appoggiaturas now that wait as long as you dare. Do bad taste. Can we just get into it from, this bass line is very important here. Just maybe from those. When I say exaggerate, I mean really exaggerate. Yeah. I mean, it's just okay now. I mean, I'm talking 2 seconds more, but play around with that. It's actually a very good way to free us up and to create, because if we just do to the ceiling every time, we lose our freedom. But I want to put the ceiling up 5 feet more so that you can actually, you have space to do that. And certainly with you know, imagine you've hit the perfect note and you're giving a little vibrato and you just enjoy it for another quarter of a second. Just enjoy that sound and that release from these appoggiaturas. Here, I think it's quite important that we have a release of pedal. You pedal through, yeah, because it's not this harmony. We're creating a new harmony from the treble. Yeah. So let's finish with that. Can we go from the crossed hands? Okay, we have this, we have the rhythm broken up. This has all been in 3, and now he gives us 2s for 2 bars. So let's hear the 2s. It's back to when he halves the time. You know, I'd like to hear the rhythm, internal rhythm. So I think it can be pretty straight. We just want to hear these overlapping thirds. And also when we get to the... hear that as a melody from here. Forte piano. Yeah, but you're releasing later. Better. another bar. A little time. The sound could be more tender, and I don't see there's any reason to make a crescendo here. Allow the rest to be part of the rhythm, dee, da, dee, so that it doesn't feel like a gap in the texture. Yeah, it's very awkward how he's written this, but he's written it compositionally to show us the voicing, hasn't he? And I think it's absolutely right to redistribute here, because there's no point in it being all uneven and saying to the audience, yes, but I'm doing what he wrote. What he wrote is to write this beautiful few bars that we should make sound as beautiful as we can. So yeah, pianissimo with cantabile, but it still has a lilt to it. Can we just try from here? Floating. Yeah, I mean, it's so subtle the way he's written it. I must say, when I recorded this, I did this. Of course, no one can see when you're recording, because it's... But, well, I don't want to... You know, what is also possible is to take the F sharp in the left hand, so you play 4 notes. If you want something different from this. I just think this... It's partly that when our hand is stretched out, we have less control over sound, because we're actually tense. It's not about, I mean, the hand simply tenses when it's stretched, the muscles are tight, and when it's contracted, the muscles are relaxed. So when we're extended like this, we just don't have, I mean, it can be done, but we just don't have the same control that we do. And what a pity if we do the best performance ever we've done of this piece, and then the last chord, or something pokes out or doesn't sound. It's such a shame. So one has to weigh these things up. Yeah, we're running out of time here. Let's have a little look at this. I struggled so hard to get the right mood for this. It's one of the most, it's between everything, isn't it? It's between light and heavy and, you know, whimsical and tragic, and I don't know, but have another go. Let's see. Well, remember, the marking is sotto voce, which actually means like this, whispering. So, but piano sotto voce, not pianissimo. So I think the sotto voce is something in the feeling. You're not quite able to say these words. You're whispering them because you don't want to say them out loud, almost. The second time you did it from bar 9. Maybe one of the keys is that, and this goes for a lot of music, is that the fast notes should be faster than the held notes. So you actually rush from the fast notes to the longer notes. So with it, da da dee, da da dee, da. Just a little bit, so that it doesn't feel da 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 dee, da da dee, da da dee, da da dee. Just that it goes towards that longer note. But what I am hearing in the left hand is, because you're pedaling with the second one, so that, but it's yap, yap. If anything, the second one should be less than the first because of the little slur. Is it fussy to try and do the pedal after? But then he has sostenuto and the sforzando. Again, the sforzando is rubato, not just a moment of louder playing. And the sforzando, sostenuto, he doesn't just write sostenuto, he writes sostenuto dot, dot, dot to where he wants it to stop. So actually, the sostenuto ends there, strictly speaking. And he does this each time, doesn't he? So let's not just ya da da da. The beat is also part of this slightly sustained. I don't want it to sound dry. That's the other thing, because of course we can not pedal at all, and we get what I'm asking. But you know, it should have some pedal to add a bit of milk to the cereal. You know, but I do want to hear these rests. Yappa 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 yappa. As it was the take before, if we're going to make a record of this. I think these are now feeling heavy. Are you adding, I'm sorry, I'm not watching here, it's confusing. Are you adding an extra one? Can you just do from the sostenuto? I must concentrate. That's correct. Now, but he doesn't write it that time. So I think we should not. I mean, I don't want to be dogmatic about it, and if you do it, it's not the end of the world. But I think it can sound like a mannerism if we do it every single time, you know, on his behalf, not on ours. Yeah, again, sforzando. Again, it's a tenuto. It's a holding on to that moment. We're running out of time. I would like a little bit of the waltz. I know he's written a different tempo marking, but I think Andante is slower than Andantino by this point in the 19th century. I know there's a debate earlier on whether it means slower than Andante or faster. Seems to me Andante is faster, isn't it? But what happens is nearly everyone who plays this piece, it goes slower because you can't, I mean, it goes faster because you can't do the tempo that you've had. So maybe we need to keep that in mind with our first tempo, that it's not too slow. And then have confidence in the Andante, that it doesn't have to push. It can just be relaxed. Should we just get into it? Can we do the last? What about for yeah? Yeah. I think he starts this here, so that it's the same gesture, and it doesn't. same tempo. You've got all the time in the world. Your cigar is burning away on the side of the piano. You've got a glass of wine. Just sit back and enjoy it. From here. So 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Carry on. Yeah. And release it. The rest. 1, 2, 3. No, keep it calm. I think it's a little too loud for me. And he writes here tenoramente, as if we haven't been tenoramente before. We have to be here. When it goes up, it's such a beautiful register in the piano. The strings are just singing. I don't think there's any rush with this, and even with it. It's nice if this comes, this little. It's not an imitation, it's a pre-thing. I don't know what the opposite of imitation is, but it comes before the theme, anticipation there. Just from the beginning of the andante, just relaxed. Rocking like a lullaby. Yes, that's it. Once more from me. And the melody also, it doesn't begin on the phrase rather. The B maybe is a little louder than the C sharp here. It's not really an upbeat so much because of the phrase. And even softer, not necessarily loud, going up here. So even when you're playing this, I mean, I think it's virtually the same tempo, really, but just eased a little bit. We're over time a bit, but fantastic. Thank you so much, Markus, for playing for us. Thank you.